standpoint, Levi Wallace is being evaluated for his shoulder. His availability is in question. Josh Jackson has got a groin. I don't know that his availability is in question, but it may affect his participation at the early portions of the week. Some guys that are on IR, like T.J. Watt and Calvin, I got no update. As I sit here today, their inclusion this week is highly unlikely, and so there's no news there. And so the rest of it's bumps and bruises associated with play. All the concussion protocol guys had no issue coming out of the last game, and so we lean in on this week's prep with a clean slate, if you will, as we get started toward Wednesday. Now let's talk about this week's challenge, man. The Philadelphia Eagles, undefeated group in their venue, is an awesome challenge. I see some really tangible reasons why they're undefeated, to be quite honest with you. They're plus 12 in the turnover game. They've gotten 14 turnovers on defense. They got corners who are a veteran group. They're highly ball aware. They got good ball skills. They got a front that applies pressure and creates an environment where turnovers happen. They're highly ball aware. If you watch their sack reel, their rushers are not only trying to take down the quarterback, but they're trying to take down the ball, and they get a lot of sack fumbles because of it. That's a component of it that produces the plus 12, but also they've only turned the ball over 2 times in 6 football games. They're unbelievably efficient in terms of maintaining possession of the ball, and it starts with their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Man, I just got so much respect for him in the way he plays the position, his intangible quality, his leadership skills, his prudent decision-making, his prudent use of mobility at the position. It's all really good, and that's why they have very little negativity in their offense. They utilize his mobility schematically in situational moments. It's challenging for the defense on possession downs in the tight red. I think he's got 6 touchdowns via the ground. And so that turnover component and his prudent decision-making, his ball security, and the ball skills in that secondary are the reasons, significant reasons why they're an undefeated group. I'll get in more detail because obviously it goes beyond that. On offense, Jalen's got an awesome collection of eligibles to throw the ball to. A.J. Brown is a big and strong guy who's tough to get on the ground after the catch. He's got strong hands. He's a combat catcher. The other 2 primary guys, Smith and Watkins, man, are skedaddlers. I mean, they can get out of town on you. They can take the top off the coverage. They're quality players. They got really good tight ends. They utilize them well to supplement their run and misdirection passing game. And in interior verticals, man, their tight ends are awesome. They got a veteran kind of an offensive line group, man. When you got guys like Lane Johnson and Kelsey, man, that's been around as long as they've been. Their anchor points, if you will, are of the group, and I see good continuity within that group. And so when you talk about the cast of eligibles, a strong offensive line group and a quarterback that has mobility and uses it appropriately and makes good decisions, you see why they're doing the things that they're doing. And hadn't even mentioned the 4-1-2er, Miles, who is a quality running back. And so they got a good offense. They got good players at all positions. It's going to be a big-time challenge from our perspective. And when they have weapons like that, it's not about shutting them down and stopping everything that they do. It's about prioritizing when we get focused on what components of their offense. And so we got a lot of meeting to do in terms of addressing that. And obviously we've got to put together a really good plan, and we got to go out and execute that plan. From an offensive perspective, I think it starts first and foremost with their front and how do we minimize their impact on the game. Guys like Fletcher Cox and Javon are catalysts for what goes on over there. You couple that with Jordan Davis, who they drafted in round 1. I mean, it's tough sledding inside and up front versus this group. They got quality edge people as well. I don't think Brandon Graham gets enough recognition for the body of work that he's been able to put together since 2010. I remember when he came out of Michigan, the one line I wrote on him was like, Lil Lamar Woodley. You know, I mean, that's how long ago that was, man. 2010. This guy has been playing at a high level for a long time, and just got a lot of respect for him. They picked up Hassan in free agency. He's a quality edge guy. Sweat. They run deep up front. They got quality players. They've invested a lot in them. They got quality depth, and those guys provide the wave that the rest of their group rides. They're fundamentalists. They do a good job of keeping a lid on it. And as I mentioned, that corner tandem in Bradbury and Slay, man, they're Grizzly veterans. They know what they're doing. They're highly aware. They got good ball skills. They're gunfighters, man. They've lived that life outside those numbers, man, in the National Football League, and they know what it's about. They're built for it. Their resume says so. And so we're excited about this challenge. We respect it. We got some work ahead of us in prep and then ultimately in play. And I'll pause there and open it up for questions.
You mentioned the Eagles. Start to the game. Do you feel the last two games your defense is getting back at least where you would hope it would be expected?
Yes. But again, we got to get more pressure on the quarterback. We got to find ways to do that. And particularly when you're faced with the challenge that we're faced with this week from a quarterback mobility standpoint, we got to get home more. And so that's something that could increase the turnover opportunities that we lacked, particularly last week.
Coach, you mentioned the Eagles' front push. Your offense uses a lot of jet sweeps. Is that to help your young offensive line? And secondly, do you think, you seem to use more jet sweeps than anybody else in the league. Has that been effective this season for you? It's about making the defense defend all the gaps across the field, C gap, D gap, E gap, and then sometimes expanding gaps. And it's not about what happens when you do it. It's about making them respected and maybe creating some interior run lanes as well. It's just a function of ball. It's not anything earth-shattering or even innovative at this point, to be quite honest with you. Everybody in football, every week I'm turning on tapes and I see jet sweeps coming from just about anybody in an effort to control those perimeter gaps and maybe create more space inside. Do you think they've been effectively run this season?
At times they've been really effective. At times they've been popcorn. They've been hit or miss.
Mike, what can you guys do as an offense to get more chunk plays?
Keep working. Keep working. With continuity, it raises your floor. When you raise your floor and you minimize negativity, you increase the potential for positivity. And so sometimes the changes that need to occur aren't significant ones. They're just continuing to work and understanding that the dam's going to break in terms of those opportunities happen. I know staying on schedule and not being behind the chains is a component of that as well.
On the road to victory, EAGLES, Eagles!